You're being consistent, you're showing up, you are pinning, you're doing the thing everyone told you to do. And your Pinterest still feels like it's going nowhere. And here's what nobody really tells you. Consistency on Pinterest is not just about how much you pin. It's about how you pin. And there's a specific workflow problem that makes even the most consistent pinners invisible. And I am going to be showing you exactly what it is. I'm Jen Vasquez, by the way, Pinterest pioneer since 2009, and I've been managing Pinterest strategy for service providers for over a decade now. And I see this pattern constantly. Stick with me and I'm going to tell you all about it. But before we get into the actual workflow, I really want to introduce the tool that makes all of this possible. It is called Tailwind, and it is a Pinterest approved third-party scheduler. They have a free plan to start. I'm an affiliate, so the link in the description supports this channel at no extra cost to you. Go grab it and follow along because I'm going to be walking through exactly how I use it. The real consistency problem. Here's the thing that most Pinterest advice gets wrong. People hear be consistent and they interpret that as posting more. So they batch 20 pins on Sunday, they schedule them all out for the week, and then they disappear for 2 weeks while life happens. To a human, that feels consistent because you're doing it, right? But to the Pinterest algorithm, that looks like a burst followed by a gap. And every single time you create that gap, your momentum resets all over again. What Pinterest actually rewards is daily activity. A small, steady signal that says this account is active, it's reliable, and it's worth surfacing in search results. That compounds over time and in a way that bursts never, ever do. The workflow that I am about to show you solves this in under an hour a week. Here is exactly how it works. Step 1, content inventory. Before I even open Tailwind, I make a list of everything that I want to pin this month. New blog posts, new YouTube videos, new podcast episodes, evergreen content that is still relevant and driving traffic, lead magnets I want to push, and my service pages. For a typical week, I am working with 4 to 6 pieces of content. Each one gets multiple pins, but this is the important piece. You have different angles for each of those pins. So they're all going to the same content, but they come at it a little different ways. So it's going to also have different text overlays, the same destination URL. That is how one piece of content can fuel an entire week and into the month. Step 2, create the pins. I create my pins in Canva using brand templates. You can also use Tailwind Create as well. Totally up to you how you want to use it. I also like to use the same color palette, which are my brand colors, the same font system, just swapping in the headline and an image for a different angle along with a CTA, because you cannot forget that call to action. For each piece of content I create, 3 to 5 variations on that content. This is where templates save everything. Without them, the under an hour thing is really not true. You have to have a system for that to be true. Templates are how that math works. Schedule in Tailwind, the workflow problem that nobody is talking about. The gap between consistent pinners and burst and gap pinners is absolutely not visible in week 1. It really shows up at month 3. That is where the compounding either kicks in or doesn't. Here is the workflow problem that nobody talks about: spacing. I go into Tailwind, I upload my pins, I add titles, keyword-rich descriptions, and destination URLs, as long with the call to action, don't forget that. Then I drop everything into the Smart Schedule queue inside Tailwind. And Tailwind automatically picks the best posting time based on when my audience is most active. Like, that's the key, right? You don't want to be publishing when nobody's actually pinning. And you don't want to rely on your time zone. Like for me, it's Pacific Standard Time Zone. You don't want to rely on the time zone because actually on 2 mornings a week, the East Coast is raring to go looking on Pinterest. So I really have a ton of people, and I actually post a pin around 4 in the morning because for my account, that's what works. I don't think about timing at all. I truly let Tailwind do that because it does it masterfully. I mean, it connected to Pinterest. It gets it, right? But here's the critical step that most people skip. I check the queue to make sure I am not scheduling the same URL multiple times in the same week. Pinterest wants to see your content distributed naturally. If you flood the same link back to back, you're actually working against yourself. Tailwind has a pin spacing tool that is my favorite piece of Tailwind ever. It has taken additional time off my plate because of how it works. Tailwind has a pin spacing tool that warns you when URLs are too close together. It is literally my favorite tool, and that feature alone has saved me from a lot of algorithm friction. The difference between daily consistent activity and burst and gap pattern is not subtle. It is the difference between traffic that compounds and traffic that flatlines. And I'm going to share exactly what consistent pinning actually does to your traffic. When Pinterest sees consistent daily activity from your account, even just 1 or 2 pins a day, it treats you as an active, reliable creator. It starts surfacing your older content more. Your impressions on existing pins actually go up, and even when you have not touched them. When it sees bursts followed by gaps, it treats you as inconsistent. We definitely don't want that. The algorithm starts to pull back. Your older content stops getting surfaced. You are essentially starting over every single time you come back. That compounding effect I always talk about, the one that makes Pinterest so powerful for service providers, only kicks in for the consistent accounts, not for the ones who try hard in bursts. This workflow makes you a consistent account without Pinterest taking over your life. Because I want you to get more out of Pinterest, but I don't want you to work more. 1 hour a week, the queue is filled, done. And if you want to build this workflow out with support and someone who will actually look at your account and tell you what to fix, that is what the club is for. Monthly Pinterest trainings, live Q&A, real accountability. The link is in the description below. By the way, drop a comment below. Are you currently batching your Pinterest, or are you pinning manually directly to Pinterest as you go? I really want to know where most of you are starting from. The workflow I just shared is only half the picture, because here is the thing. If your Pinterest foundation has gaps, this workflow will run perfectly and still not get you clients. Your profile could be invisible in search. Your board titles might be telling Pinterest the wrong thing. And your top pins might be linking to pages that quietly kill the conversion. Next week, I am going to be doing a full Pinterest audit. 5 things to check before you post another pin. And most people find at least 2 or 3 things that they didn't know were broken. You are going to want to see that before you schedule anything else. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it. Bye.